Rain fell like silver needles from a dark sky, washing the dust off the metal roofs of the small human colony on planet Veralia 9. Streets were empty, glowing dimly under the blue streetlights. Commander Ethan Vale walked alone, holding an old umbrella, his boots splashing through puddles. He had been stationed here for 3 years, long enough to forget what warmth felt like. He was a soldier once, a hero in the Terran Wars, but now he just repaired old defense drones for food and rent. He had stopped talking to people. He didn't even remember the last time he smiled. That night, he was on his way back to his quarters when he heard it, a tiny voice in the rain. "Sir, please wait." Ethan stopped and turned. Through the curtain of rain, he saw a small figure standing beside a broken streetlight. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, her silver hair plastered to her face, her purple eyes glowing faintly in the dark. She was shivering, holding a small paper bag close to her chest. Her clothes were wet and torn at the edges. He frowned. "You shouldn't be out here, kid. Where's your home?" The girl took a hesitant step forward. "My name is Lyra," she said softly. I don't really have a home." Ethan sighed. "Then where are your parents?" She bit her lip, looked down, and whispered, "Just Mom. She's all I have." Then she held out the paper bag toward him. "It's her birthday tonight." Inside the bag, Ethan saw a small cupcake, wet, half melted by the rain. A single candle was stuck in the middle. The sight hit him harder than any battle he had ever fought. "She's so lonely, sir," the girl continued. "She smiles for me, but I know she cries when I sleep." Her voice trembled. "Can you please come to our house? Just for tonight? Pretend to be my dad. Just for her birthday party?" Ethan blinked, unsure if he heard her right. "What?" The girl looked up with big, pleading eyes. "She keeps saying she wishes my dad could see me. But he died in the war. I thought maybe, if a kind human came, she'd smile again." For a long moment, Ethan didn't move. The rain drummed on his umbrella, whispering memories he didn't want to remember. The wife he lost on Earth. The daughter he never got to hold. He wanted to walk away. He wanted to say no. But something in that little alien girl's trembling voice froze his steps. "Where do you live, Lyra?" he finally asked. Her eyes lit up instantly. "Just down the old canyon road. It's not far." She grabbed his hand, small, warm, and full of hope, and started leading him through the misty streets. Ethan followed silently, his heart heavy with confusion. The colony lights grew faint behind them as they walked deeper into the outskirts, where the houses were made of stone and old alien metal. The rain eased into a gentle drizzle. Lyra kept talking about her mother, about how she used to sing to her, how they painted stars on their ceiling so they could dream of flying one day. When they reached the edge of the canyon, Ethan saw a small house glowing faintly under a hanging lantern. It looked fragile, almost alive, like it was breathing through the rain. "That's our home," Lyra said proudly. "Mom doesn't know I invited you. It's a surprise." Ethan stared at the door, his reflection wavering on the wet metal surface. Something deep inside him stirred, an old feeling he thought had died long ago. Before he could speak, Lyra tugged his hand again and whispered, "Please don't tell her yet. Just act normal, just like a dad would." He nodded slowly. "All right, Lyra," as she smiled for the first time. Ethan realized this strange night had just pulled him into something far bigger than a birthday party, a story that would change his life forever. Ethan stood outside the little house, his hand still held tightly by Lyra. The rain had stopped now, leaving behind a cool mist that wrapped the night in quiet calm. He could hear the faint hum of soft music coming from inside, slow, sad notes that sounded almost human but carried a strange, alien rhythm. Lyra turned to him with a small smile. "She's cooking something special. She doesn't know I went out." Ethan hesitated. His instincts, the soldier inside him, told him something about this whole situation was unusual. But the child's innocent eyes made it impossible to refuse. She pushed open the door gently. Warm light spilled out, brushing Ethan's face with a golden glow. The air smelled of herbs, something sweet, and faintly metallic, the scent of alien spices. Inside, the small house looked cozy but worn down. Cracks lined the walls, and the furniture seemed patched together from human and alien technology. A single table stood in the center, decorated with candles and a small plate of food. Then he saw her. The woman turned at the sound of the door. She was tall, graceful, and looked both human and alien, pale lavender skin, silver hair braided down her back, and eyes that shimmered like liquid stars. Her expression froze the moment she saw Ethan. Lyra. Her voice trembled, soft but sharp. "Who is this man?" Lyra hid behind Ethan's arm. "Mom, please don't be mad. He's here for your birthday. He's kind." Ethan quickly raised a hand. "Ma'am, I didn't mean to intrude. She found me on the street. The woman's gaze softened slightly, though confusion still clouded her face. "You followed my daughter home?" Ethan cleared his throat. "She insisted. Said it was your birthday and—" He hesitated, not sure how to explain. "I thought maybe I could walk her home safely." Lyra ran forward and hugged her mother's leg. "He's just helping us, Mom. Please don't be sad tonight. You always say birthdays should have family." Something flickered in the woman's eyes, pain. For a moment, she looked like she might cry. Then she knelt and gently touched her daughter's face. "You shouldn't wander off, my light. You know it's dangerous out there." "I know," Lyra whispered, looking down. "But I wanted you to smile again." The mother sighed deeply, then turned to Ethan. "Forgive her. She's too kind for this world." Ethan shook his head. "You have a good kid. She's brave." A faint smile tugged at the woman's lips. "Brave, yes. And too much like her father." The room fell silent. Ethan sensed the weight behind her words. He looked at the flickering candles on the table, only 2 plates set, one for her, one for Lyra. No third plate. "No birthday guests." She finally said. "My name is Soraya." "Ethan Vale," he replied. Soraya nodded slowly. Then, "Ethan Vale. Since my daughter has brought you here, would you do us the honor of joining this small celebration? It's not much, but it will make her happy." Ethan hesitated again, but nodded. "Of course." They sat down together, the strange dinner glowing faintly in the candlelight. The food was simple, something between human stew and alien broth, but it felt warm after the cold rain. Lyra laughed and talked about little things, how she liked drawing stars, how she dreamed of building her own ship one day. Ethan listened, smiling for the first time in months. Soraya watched quietly, her gaze softening each time she saw Ethan smile at her daughter. But sometimes, her eyes drifted to the empty chair at the corner, and sadness returned like a shadow. When the meal ended, Lyra clapped her hands. "Wait, the candle!" She brought the small cupcake she had carried through the rain, now neatly fixed with a fresh candle. "Make a wish, Mom." Soraya looked at the candle for a long moment. "A wish," she murmured. "I've made many. None came true." "Then let this one be different," Ethan said quietly. She looked up at him. Their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them. Then she blew out the candle. The light faded for a second, and the room went quiet, but outside, something shimmered in the distance, a faint blue glow in the canyon, pulsing like a heartbeat. Soraya's face suddenly turned pale. She stood up quickly. "Lyra, inside the room, now." Ethan frowned. "What's going on?" Soraya's voice dropped, cold and fearful. "They found us." For a few seconds, Ethan didn't understand what Soraya meant. "They found us." The words echoed in his mind, sharp and cold. Outside the small window, the canyon glowed with a strange blue light. Not lightning, not fire, something far more controlled. It pulsed in slow waves, painting the wet stones with an unnatural shimmer. Soraya hurried to the door, sealing it with a lock that made a deep mechanical click. Then she whispered a short phrase in her alien language, soft but full of fear. Lyra peeked from behind Ethan, clutching his arm. "Mom, is it the Seekers?" "Inside, Lyra," Soraya ordered. "Hide my light." The girl hesitated. "But now!" Her voice cracked, full of desperate love. Lyra ran into a small back room, the door sliding shut behind her. Ethan stood still, watching Soraya's trembling hands as she checked the window shutters. "Who are the Seekers?" Ethan finally asked. Soraya turned to him, her silver eyes glowing faintly. "They're not soldiers. They're hunters. They search for people like me." Ethan frowned. "People like you? You mean, I'm not supposed to be here?" she interrupted, her voice breaking. "Veralia 9 banned all survivors from my colony. We were declared dangerous after the war." "Dangerous?" Ethan repeated quietly. She nodded, looking down. "We carry energy inside us, a kind of living code that humans once tried to use in weapons. They said it was unstable, so they erased us." Ethan's heart tightened. He'd heard rumors about that, secret experiments during the Terran Wars, when both sides crossed lines they could never undo. He'd thought those were myths. "And your daughter?" he asked. "She was born after I escaped," Soraya whispered. "Half human, half Ithari. They'll take her if they find us. They'll use her to finish what the humans started." A sudden thud hit the door. Both of them froze. Ethan's instincts came alive, old soldier reflexes kicking in. He reached for the side table, grabbing a metal pipe. Not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. Another sound followed. Footsteps, slow, heavy, metallic. Soraya's voice trembled. "They use drones to scout first. If they find our heat signatures, more will come. Can you hide?" Ethan asked. "No. The energy inside me, it reacts to their sensors." She looked at him, her face pale with dread. "But you can still leave. Take Lyra, please, save her." He shook his head firmly. "I'm not leaving you. You don't understand. They kill humans who help Ithari, then they can try." For a moment, her eyes softened, a mixture of surprise and gratitude. Before she could reply, the window shattered with a blinding flash. Blue shards scattered across the floor. A floating drone hovered outside, scanning the room with red beams. Ethan ducked and swung the metal pipe, smashing it hard. Sparks flew, and the machine dropped, smoking. But that attack had triggered something. Alarms began echoing from the canyon. Soraya's voice was shaking now. "They've traced us. We have seconds." She ran to a small chest, pulling out a circular device glowing faintly green. "Take this." She pressed it into Ethan's hand. "What is it?" "A beacon. It hides Lyra's signal. Activate it if we're separated." Before he could answer, the front wall exploded inward, scattering debris. 3 tall figures stepped through the smoke, Seekers. Their armor shimmered like glass, and their eyes glowed cold blue. Ethan moved in front of Soraya, gripping the pipe like a blade. The nearest Seeker raised a weapon, humming with light. "Target confirmed," one said in a metallic voice. "Ithari female and hybrid child detected. Terminate all." Ethan felt his blood boil. "Over my dead body." He swung the pipe with everything he had, striking the first Seeker's mask. The blow cracked its visor, and sparks flew. Soraya lifted her hand. Blue fire erupted from her palm, hurling the others backward. The energy wasn't like lightning. It was alive, swirling around her like a storm made of light. Ethan stared in shock. "What are you doing?" Her voice echoed softly through the chaos. The thing they fear most is what keeps my daughter alive. She blasted another wave, but the effort made her stumble. Ethan caught her just before she fell. You can't keep this up. She smiled weakly. It's okay. I just need to buy her time. From the back room, Lyra's frightened cry broke the air. Mom! Ethan turned toward the sound, but before he could move, a seeker aimed its weapon at the door. Soraya screamed, "No!" and unleashed a final burst of energy. The light consumed the room, bright, burning, endless. Then everything went dark. Silence. Ethan's single quotes ears rang as he opened his eyes. The house was gone, or rather, what was left of it barely stood. Smoke curled from the broken walls, the floor was cracked, and blue sparks danced faintly in the air like falling stars. His body ached, his hands trembled, and the metal pipe he had used as a weapon lay bent beside him. For a few seconds, he couldn't remember where he was. Then the smell of burnt metal and the faint echo of a child's sobs pulled him back. "Lyra," he whispered, his voice hoarse. He pushed himself up, coughing, his boots crunching on the debris. "Lyra, where are you?" A small voice answered from the corner. "Here." Ethan rushed toward the sound and found her crouched behind a broken chair, her silver hair covered in dust, her big violet eyes filled with tears. She was shaking, clutching a small pendant, the same one Soraya had worn around her neck. He knelt beside her, gently brushing the dust off her face. "You're safe. It's over." She shook her head, voice cracking. "No, it's not over. Mom's gone." And froze. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" Lyra pointed toward the center of the room. The floor was scorched black, and in the middle, a faint blue light shimmered, not fire, not energy, but something softer, almost like mist. It pulsed slowly, in and out, like a heartbeat. "She saved me," Lyra whispered. "She made a wall of light when they shot at me." Then everything disappeared. Ethan stared at the glowing spot. She's inside that?" The little girl nodded. "Mom said if anything happened, her energy would hide me. But she didn't come back." Ethan felt a sharp pain in his chest, the kind that had nothing to do with wounds. He looked around. The seekers' bodies were gone, turned into ash-like dust scattered on the floor. Whatever Soraya had done, it had erased them completely. He stood up slowly, gripping the pendant Lyra handed him. "She protected you. That's what mothers do." Lyra's voice trembled. "But she told me. She wanted me to smile on her birthday. How can I smile now?" Ethan had no answer. He looked at the small girl in front of him, half alien, half human, completely alone, and something inside him shifted. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was something deeper, something he hadn't felt in years. He crouched down. "Lyra, your mother gave her life to save yours. If she wanted you to smile, then we'll make sure her wish comes true. I promise." The girl looked up at him, tears glimmering in her eyes. "You promise?" "I do." A sudden crackle interrupted them, the sound of static through the night air. Ethan looked toward the broken window. The blue glow outside the canyon had returned. He stepped closer and saw small drones floating in the distance, scanning the ruins. "They're coming back," he muttered. Lyra clung to his arm. "They won't stop. They'll find me." He remembered the small green device Soraya had given him before the explosion, the beacon. He pulled it from his pocket. It was cracked but still glowing faintly. "This will hide your signal," he said. "But we need to move now." He carried her through the broken doorway and into the cold night. The air smelled of rain and smoke. The stars above Veralia 9 shone brighter than ever, but the planet no longer felt peaceful, it felt hunted. They walked through the narrow path along the canyon. The moonlight reflected off the wet rocks, and every shadow looked alive. Lyra held tightly to his jacket, silent except for her quiet sniffles. After some distance, they reached an old metal bridge that led toward the forest. Ethan stopped and looked back. The little house was now just a faint spark of blue in the distance. Lyra followed his gaze. "She used to say the stars were watching us," she whispered. "Do you think she's up there now?" Ethan looked at the sky, his voice soft. "No. I think she's still right here." He tapped his chest. "Inside us both." The girl wiped her tears and nodded. "Then I'll be brave. Like her." He smiled faintly. "That's my girl." As they crossed the bridge, a strange sound echoed from behind, metallic wings. Ethan turned sharply. Drones, at least 4, rising from the canyon floor, scanning for movement. He tightened his grip on the beacon and whispered, "Hold on, Lyra. Where are we going?" She asked. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Somewhere they'll never find you." The beacon pulsed brighter, the air around them shimmered, and then both of them vanished into the mist. The forest of Veralianine was alive with strange sounds. Trees that shimmered faintly with blue veins, glowing insects drifting like sparks, and distant echoes that made the night feel awake. Ethan moved carefully through the undergrowth, holding Lyra's small hand as they followed the faint path deeper into the woods. Behind them, the canyon was far away now, hidden by fog and distance. The air was colder here, damp with mist, and every step felt like walking through a dream. Lyra spoke softly, her voice still trembling from what had happened. "Are they gone?" Ethan glanced back. "For now. But they'll keep looking. We can't stop." The small green beacon in his pocket pulsed faintly, one soft glow every few seconds, like a heartbeat. He didn't understand how it worked, only that Soraya had said it would protect them. Still, the way it shimmered felt strange, almost alive. After an hour of walking, they reached a cave under a giant tree whose roots curled like fingers. Ethan guided Lyra inside. It was dry and quiet, a small shelter against the cold. "Rest," he said. "I'll keep watch." Lyra sat down beside a rock, hugging her knees. Her eyes were red, but she tried to smile. "Mom used to tell me bedtime stories about forests like this. She said the trees could hear you if you listened." Ethan forced a smile. "Maybe they can." He sat across from her, the faint light of the beacon casting gentle green shadows on the walls. The exhaustion finally started to sink in. His muscles burned, his head ached, and the weight of everything that happened pressed down on him like a storm. He looked at the beacon again, turning it over in his hand. Its surface was smooth, but the light inside flickered irregularly, faster, then slower, like it was reacting to his touch. "Strange little thing," he muttered. Then a soft whisper filled the air. "Ethan." He froze. The voice wasn't loud, but it was clear, calm, almost musical. Lyra's head lifted. "Mom?" Ethan's heart skipped. The voice came again, faint but steady. "Ethan." "Lyra." He stared at the beacon, realization dawning. "Soraya?" The green light brightened, and for a brief second, a shimmer appeared above it, the faint outline of a woman's face. Soraya's face. Her expression was soft, glowing like starlight, her hair drifting in unseen wind. "Don't be afraid," she said gently. "I don't have much strength left. But part of me still lives within this beacon." Lyra gasped and crawled closer. "Mom, you're alive?" Soraya smiled faintly. "Not alive, my light. But near you. Always near you." Her gaze shifted toward Ethan. "Thank you for keeping her safe." Ethan's throat tightened. "You sacrificed yourself. You shouldn't even be." "I did what any mother would," she interrupted softly. "But time is short. The Seekers will not stop. They've traced my energy signature. They believe Lyra carries the same code I once did." Ethan frowned. "You mean her DNA?" "Not just that," Soraya said. She carries something, awakened by emotion, by love, by fear. The more she feels, the stronger it becomes. Lyra looked confused. Mom, am I dangerous? Soraya's eyes softened. No, my light. You're special. The universe gave you a gift, something both human and Aethari. But others will try to use it. Ethan clenched his fists. Then we'll protect her. I promised. Soraya nodded, her light flickering weakly. There's a place north of here. The ruins of the old observatory. Humans built it long ago to study the stars. You can hide there, maybe find a signal to leave this planet. Her image trembled, fading slightly. Wait, Ethan said quickly. How will we find it? Follow the sound of the river, she whispered. And when you see the sky turning violet, you'll be close. Mom! Lyra cried, reaching out. Soraya's voice grew faint. Be brave, my daughter. You have the light inside you. Never forget who you are. Then the glow dimmed, and the cave fell silent once more. Lyra buried her face in Ethan's coat, sobbing softly. He wrapped his arms around her, staring at the beacon's fading light. His heart felt heavy but determined. He whispered, almost to himself, You're not gone, Soraya. You're guiding us. Outside, the forest rustled gently, as if the wind itself had heard. Far in the distance, a faint mechanical hum began to rise again. The Seekers. Searching, hunting. Ethan picked up the beacon and stood. We move at dawn, he said. Lyra looked up, her eyes filled with courage this time. Then let's find the violet sky. The next morning came softly, painted in shades of silver and blue. Mist rolled across the forest floor like slow-moving ghosts. Ethan led Lyra through the tall glowing trees, his hand wrapped firmly around hers. The beacon pulsed faintly in his pocket, a heartbeat that reminded him they were not alone. Are we close? Lyra asked, her small voice breaking the silence. Ethan looked up through the branches. The sky was changing, no longer blue, but turning faintly violet at the edges, just as Soraya had said. Almost, he said. Your mom's directions were right. They walked for hours. The forest grew denser, and strange sounds echoed in the distance, clicking tones, like machines whispering in the wind. Every now and then, Lyra would pause, eyes distant, as if she could feel something. Ethan, she said suddenly. The trees. They're talking. He frowned. What do you mean? They're afraid, she whispered. Something is waking up. Ethan didn't know what to say. He tightened his grip on her hand. Stay close. The path curved sharply, leading to an open field covered in violet mist. The sky above shimmered, half day, half night, glowing like melted amethyst. In the center of the field stood a tall, broken tower, the old observatory. It was half buried, its metal frame twisted, its giant dome cracked open to the stars. But beneath the ruins, faint blue light still glowed, ancient systems flickering weakly after decades of silence. That's it, Ethan whispered. We made it. Lyra smiled for the first time in days. It's beautiful. But before they could step forward, the beacon in Ethan's pocket began to vibrate violently. He pulled it out. The green light was flashing red now, fast, warning them. What's happening? Lyra asked, eyes wide. Ethan's face hardened. We're not alone. A mechanical shriek cut through the air. From the sky above, 3 Seekers descended like shadows, their armor reflecting the violet glow. They landed hard, the ground trembling under their weight. Targets reacquired, one of them said in a hollow voice. Energy signal detected. Ethan cursed under his breath. He pushed Lyra behind a rock and drew his weapon, a small blaster he had stolen years ago. Stay down. He fired 2 quick shots, hitting one Seeker's shoulder. Sparks flew, but it didn't stop. The machines advanced, their eyes glowing brighter. Lyra clutched the beacon tightly, her little hands trembling. "Mom, please," she whispered. "Help us." The beacon flared suddenly, green light bursting outward like a wave. Ethan shielded his eyes. When he looked again, the Seekers had paused mid-step. Their movements slowed, their lights flickered, as if something unseen was fighting them. Then he heard her voice, faint but clear. "Ethan, take her inside the observatory." Seray, he didn't hesitate. "Come on, Lyra." They ran through the mist, dodging debris and falling sparks. The observatory's entrance opened with a hiss as the old sensors recognized Soraya's energy signal. Inside, the air was cool and humming with quiet power. Old computers blinked weakly, and the ceiling showed a broken projection of the stars. In the center stood a huge crystal structure, pulsing faintly violet, like a heart. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's alive." Ethan stared at the crystal. "This must be the core. Maybe it can hide us." Before he could move, Lyra stepped closer. The crystal's light brightened as she approached, responding to her presence. "Lyra, stop!" Ethan called, but she didn't. She placed her small hand on the crystal surface, and the entire room lit up. Energy surged through the observatory, circuits humming to life after years of silence. The walls projected shifting constellations, and the air filled with soft whispers, alien voices singing in harmony. Ethan staggered back, shielding his eyes. "What's happening?" Lyra turned slowly. Her eyes glowed violet now, just like the crystal. Her voice echoed, layered with another tone. "Soraya's." "She's not gone," Lyra said softly. "Mom's inside me. And she's waking something ancient." The ground trembled. Outside, the Seekers tried to enter, but the crystal's energy pushed them back, beams of light striking like thunder. Ethan shouted over the noise. "Lyra, you have to stop, it's too strong." She shook her head, tears in her glowing eyes. "I can't. She's protecting us." The light grew brighter, filling every corner of the observatory. Then, in a single pulse, everything went silent. The next moment, Ethan opened his eyes to see Lyra lying unconscious near the crystal, her glow fading. The Seekers outside were gone, vaporized, leaving nothing but dust in the violet wind. He rushed to her side, checking her pulse. She was breathing, but weak. The beacon lay beside her, cracked open, its light finally gone. He whispered, "Soraya, what did you do?" Outside, the sky deepened to a darker violet. Beautiful, haunting, endless. The observatory was quiet now. Only the wind whispered through the cracks in the dome. Violet light shimmered faintly across the floor, and the scent of ozone lingered in the air, the smell that followed after great power. Ethan sat beside Lyra's still body, his hand resting on her small shoulder. Her chest rose and fell gently, but her skin glowed faintly under the pale light. She looked peaceful, too peaceful, as if she were caught between sleep and something beyond it. "Come on, kid," he whispered. "You've got to wake up." No answer. Only silence. He looked around the ruined observatory, machines half alive, cables humming faintly with forgotten energy. The giant crystal in the center pulsed softly, as if breathing. Its light reflected in his eyes, steady and calm. Then, a voice echoed, soft and familiar. "Ethan." He froze. "Soraya?" The light within the crystal grew warmer, and her shape appeared, faint but clear. Soraya, just as he remembered her. Her smile gentle, her eyes glowing with quiet strength. "You kept your promise," she said. Ethan shook his head. "She's not waking up." "What did you do to her?" Soraya's image stepped closer, her voice calm. "She carries what I could no longer hold. The power inside her was sleeping. I only guided it to protect her." "And you?" He clenched his fists. "You merged with her." Soraya nodded. "It was the only way. The Seekers would never stop hunting. But now, they're gone." Ethan looked down at Lyra. At what cost? She's just a child. Soraya's face softened. She's more than that. She's the bridge between two worlds, human and Athari. Through her, both sides can heal what was broken. Ethan laughed bitterly. Heal? Humans started this war. They built those monsters. They destroyed your people. Soraya tilted her head. And yet one human stood in the rain to protect my daughter. One human listened when she begged. You did not walk away. Her words cut through him like light through glass. He wanted to argue, but he couldn't. Soraya looked down at Lyra, her expression full of love. She will wake soon. But she needs someone when she does. Someone who understands both pain and kindness. Ethan frowned. What are you saying? Soraya stepped closer, her glow touching his face. You know what I'm saying. He shook his head slowly. No. I can't replace you. You don't have to, she whispered. Just be there. That's all she ever needed. The crystal's light dimmed slightly, and her form began to fade. Ethan stood up quickly. Wait, don't go. Soraya's voice grew faint. I've stayed longer than I should. The universe calls me home. But I leave her in good hands. Soraya. Her final words came like a breeze. Thank you. For giving her what I couldn't. Then she was gone. The crystal's glow softened, and the room fell still. Ethan knelt beside Lyra again, his throat tight. You're safe now, he whispered. We both are. Moments passed in silence, and then a tiny movement. Lyra's fingers twitched. Her eyes fluttered open, faint violet light fading as she blinked. Ethan? She whispered. He smiled, relief washing over him like sunlight after a storm. Hey kid. You scared me. She sat up slowly, rubbing her eyes. I saw Mom. She said I'm not alone anymore. Ethan nodded, his voice thick. She's right. Lyra looked at the crystal, tears filling her eyes but not falling. She's gone, isn't she? Not gone, Ethan said softly. Just part of the stars now. Watching you. The girl smiled weakly. Then I'll be brave. Like her. Like you. Ethan chuckled quietly. Bravery doesn't run out, huh? She shook her head. No, Mom said bravery is love that refuses to die. He looked out through the broken dome, the sky above them now glowing bright violet, filled with swirling lights like rivers of energy flowing between the stars. For the first time, the world didn't feel lonely. Ethan stood and extended his hand. Come on, let's go home. Lyra placed her small hand in his. Where's home? He looked at her with a soft smile. Wherever you are. They stepped out of the observatory together. The light of dawn broke through the mist, painting the horizon gold. Somewhere deep in the wind, a faint whisper drifted through the trees, a voice filled with warmth. Thank you. Ethan paused and smiled at the sky. You're welcome, Soraya. As they walked down the hill, hand in hand, the beacon, cracked and silent, flickered one last time in his pocket, as if saying goodbye.